there is nothing more frustrating than wasted potential, especially when it comes to media, particularly when a movie or an episode of a TV show had so many good things going for it, only to end up having a completely botched execution. I cannot think of a better example of this than the My Little Pony Friendship is Magic episode, The Mysterious Mare Duel. This was one of the most controversial episodes of the series at the time it aired, and for good reason. Maybe it's because the show's quality would eventually go on to crash and burn, but fans recently started to claim that this episode wasn't as bad as it was originally made out to be. This perspective becomes understandable once you revisit the episode, as there are some aspects of the plot and characterization that was done right, but as I've said before, even if a piece of media does have some good elements, all it takes is a bad execution to ruin it. And so for this video, we'll be exploring how the Mysterious Mare Duel had a good setup but an awful payoff. So the episode begins with Rainbow Dash secretly listening in on a fan club dedicated to her. This is to establish the fact that she enjoys attention, which will explain her characterization later in the episode. In the next scene, Rainbow Dash hears a cry for help from a well, and immediately flies down to rescue the trapped child. This heroic act catches the attention of the ponies in the area, and they praise her. Although Rainbow Dash is initially humble, pointing out that all that matters is that the filly is safe. Later, a cradle with a baby in it is speeding down a hill, and once again Rainbow Dash flies in to save the day. This time, a much larger crowd of ponies witnesses the heroic deed, and they start to applaud her. However, unlike at the previous rescue, Rainbow Dash starts to enjoy the praise she's receiving. In the next scene, a balcony with a group of elderly ponies on it collapses, and Rainbow Dash once again comes in to the rescue, except unlike the previous two times, where she immediately acted without a second thought, she instead wastes precious time to announce her arrival, just to appease her adoring fans. And after saving the old ponies who were in danger, she has gone full glory hound, soaking up every last bit of praise from the Ponyville citizens. This first act was quite cleverly written, as it would have been very easy to make Rainbow Dash fame hungry from the first rescue, which would have made her come across as a completely unlikable, egotistical prick. But instead, she starts up as completely humble, but the fame gradually got to her head the more times she got cheered on. As a result, her attitude is completely understandable, reminding the audience that she's meant to be a flawed character, who is supposed to still be likable at the end of the day, rather than an irredeemable jerk. Let's be real, if someone gets worshipped like a celebrity for long enough, they'll eventually start to believe that they're entitled to be treated as such. This is a nuanced way to tackle this topic, as instead of dismissing Rainbow Dash as a glory hound, the episode takes the time to show where she's coming from. But then, that immediately gets thrown out the window, when her friends get annoyed by her bragging, instead of trying to emphasize with how she got to this point.
Awesomely heroic that day and awesomely arrogant ever since.
This is what I was talking about at the beginning of this video. The setup of the plot is excellent, but from this point forward, there are a series of missteps that ruins what the episode was going for. Anyway, in the next scene, Rainbow Dash is in town, signing autographs, when a hot air balloon with someone in it starts to fall to the ground. However, instead of immediately coming to that pony's rescue, Rainbow Dash instead wants to finish the signing first, assuming that she'll be fast enough to do so. This is the point where Rainbow Dash being egotistical starts to become a legitimate problem, as now the fame she's receiving is more important to her than saving lives. However, another pony in a superhero outfit instead steps in to save the mare. She is dubbed the Mysterious Mare Duel, and everyone in Ponyville immediately forgets about Rainbow Dash and starts praising her instead.
I've never seen such bravery in all my life!
That's a weird choice of words, as Mare Duel's actions are hardly any different to Rainbow Dash's. Anyway, Rainbow Dash, who is now dependent on the praise of others, can't stand that there is now a new hero in town, and decides to outstage the Mysterious Mare Duel, forgetting what really matters, that being saving lives. Rainbow Dash tries to do another heroic deed, but the Mysterious Mare Duel beats her to the punch every time, thanks to her strength, her ability to predict disasters before they happen, magic, and even wings. And yeah, it's incredibly obvious that she's actually Rainbow Dash's friends, as each of these qualities belongs to one of them. Also, does anyone else notice the ridiculous amount of disasters happening in a short period of time in a small town? It would seem that Ponyville is the most dangerous place in all of Equestria. Although, obviously, the real answer is that it's all for the sake of the plot. Still though, it comes across as insane. Anyway, at Sugar Cube Corner, Rainbow Dash's friends praise the mysterious mare-de-well's feats, along with claiming that she is humble, which makes them come across as hypocritical when it was revealed that they were mare-de-well this whole time, and so are basically just stroking their own egos in this scene.
I must say, I was impressed by that spell she used. Seems like something like that would take quite a bit of study.
They even had Fluttershy fly in the costume for the sake of showing off, rather than for a rescue, which goes against the whole letting actions speak for themselves point. It's as if they let the fame go to their heads, just like Rainbow Dash, meaning that they too need to learn a lesson. But this issue gets completely overlooked, which really hurts the message.
Have you seen her costume? It is to die for!
If the whole point of this episode's moral is that saving lives is more important than fame, then a hero shouldn't be praised for their outfit, especially since you're one of the characters who's supposed to be teaching that moral. Also, since you made the outfit, you're just bragging about yourself, which is also egotistical. You hypocrite. They all then laugh at Rainbow Dash for being jealous of mare-de-well, which is kinda messed up, considering that they've been basically sabotaging her this whole time. Also, if they wanted to teach Rainbow Dash a lesson, maybe they should take this opportunity to teach it to her, instead of doing all this mean-spirited teasing. Rainbow Dash becomes more determined to regain her fame, and resorts to doing mundane tasks, which of course doesn't work. Afterwards, Rainbow Dash finds out a parade in honor of mare-de-well is being thrown, which was something that Rainbow Dash never got when she was the town hero, which is actually unfair, as there was no difference between her heroic deeds and mare-de-well's. And again, this is going against the episode's moral, that saving people is more important than the praise that comes with it. Anyway, at the parade, Rainbow Dash confronts mare-de-well, trying to get her to reveal her identity, but she runs off, and Rainbow Dash chases after her. When she finally catches up to her, it is revealed to Rainbow Dash that mare-de-well was actually all of her friends in disguise. They then explain to Rainbow Dash that the whole mysterious mare-de-well idea was meant to teach her about having grace and humility when achieving great feats. And she, surprisingly, immediately understands their intentions, considering her characterization once mare-de-well entered the picture. However, unfortunately, this episode's message is ruined by the actions of Twilight, Applejack, Pinkiepie, Rarity, and Fluttershy. Intentionally sabotaging Rainbow Dash like they did just feels wrong. They should have tried talking to her about this problem before pulling that stunt. While some people may argue that Rainbow Dash would have just ignored them, that doesn't change the fact that they should have at least attempted to do so in the first place. A better way to go about this plot would be to have Rainbow Dash's friends try to talk to her about the bragging, but she ignores them, due to being distracted by the fame she's receiving. Also, the incident where Rainbow Dash was signing autographs, instead of rescuing someone who is in danger, should be what made her friends decide to do the mare-de-well plan, instead of her bragging at Sugar Cube Corner, as that was the point where her attention seeking was really starting to become a legitimate problem. And of course, there was the blatant hypocrisy.
But a real hero doesn't brag.
Celebrating your accomplishments is natural, but
Rubbing them in every pony's face is not.
Except that was literally what all of you were doing at Sugar Cube Corner. Also, how's making an appearance at a parade dedicated to you showing humility and grace? Another thing that bothers me is how the Ponyville citizens seem to have completely forgotten about Rainbow Dash's heroic deeds once the mysterious mare-de-well came along. As I said before, the setup for this plot was perfect, by showing the progress of Rainbow Dash gradually becoming a glory hound, making her behavior understandable, only for the moral to be ruined by how her friends went about teaching it to her. These sorts of episodes are actually more frustrating than the ones that are entirely bad, with almost zero redeeming qualities. As you can see the pieces of a good episode being put together, and everything would have worked out well if specific flaws were fixed, but instead, we're left with an incomplete mess. While the mysterious mare-de-well wasn't the worst My Little Pony episode in retrospect, as it had done some things right, I also wouldn't call it underrated either, as it still fails overall. And that was my review of the My Little Pony Friendship is Magic episode, The Mysterious Mare-de-well. If you enjoyed this video, then be sure to give it a like, share, and comment. Also, subscribe to my channel and hit the bell for notifications. And if you're interested in supporting my channel, then head over to my Patreon. Well, I got nothing else to say, so see ya!